All right, man, peace. So, brothers, I saw this story first emerge about a week and a half ago, and I did not have time to do a video on it back then. But I knew that I was going to do a video on it because, to me, the crux of this whole situation between Derek Fisher, Gloria Govan, and Matt Barnes is an issue that truly permeates the lives of many so-called black men in this modern day time, because brothers are dealing with these liberal black females, and oftentimes, as a defense mechanism, they're trying to overly exalt the feminine principle, hoping that it will cause the female to stay. And brothers have to understand something: there's nothing permanent in the flesh. And as I always repeat over and over again on so many of these videos, the only person that you can control is yourself. Oftentimes when things end with the woman on her way out, if she can, she would try to bring as much confusion into your life as possible. You have to be cognizant of that. That's why I make these videos about men not falling in love. My channel's geared towards the so-called black man, because so many brothers are raised in these environments that overly exalt the feminine principle. Why is that? Because he's being raised by oftentimes single liberal black females. Many of these young brothers are often being raised alongside their sisters, and they'll find that their sisters may be ganging up on them at the behest of the mother, or sometimes the mother is treating the little black boy with a sense of favoritism because she does not have any idea how to raise him in a measured environment. Either way, it's going to hurt him in the long run, because so many of these young black males, they don't have an understanding of propriety. They don't have an understanding of moderation. They're looking for something to put all their energy into, because the so-called black man really does not grasp how to develop a relationship with the Most High, which is what's going to keep you balanced, which is what's going to keep you stable, especially in these last days. You're going to find more and more of these liberal black females are going to start to lose their mind, because they have sworn off the order stipulated by the Most High, that being the Most High, then his son, then the man, then the woman. Many of these females are now either atheists, Luciferian, or are trying to usurp the order by acting as if they can deal with the Most High or his son directly, and they cannot. They have to go through the man. But the man must have an understanding of the Most High first, so that you can be a conduit for the woman. I'm saying all this why? Because, brothers, you never know, man. You could be with a chick and you think that she's rolling with you hard body, and next thing you know, you find out that she's doing something with her ex. You find out that she's doing something with a colleague at work. You find out that she's doing something with one of your so-called friends, or one of your so-called family members, immediate family member, or extended, or someone who she claims is just a male friend, and she's doing something with that person. You can't have a mental breakdown over that. And one of the main ways that you can avoid that is by making sure that you keep everything in its appropriate order. You have to establish a proper hierarchy for importance of things that are in your life and how you're going to deal with them. You always have to approach things in regards to the potentialities. What are the worst case scenarios? How am I going to deal with this if this person flips out, or if that person turns against me? People change. You have to be prepared for those things, for those eventualities. And when I look at a situation like this, Matt Barnes will not come out and admit it, but I'm sure that he's extremely hurt. Derek Fisher was a teammate of his. How did Derek Fisher come in contact with Matt Barnes' former wife, Gloria Govan? I'm sure that he introduced them. You think that you're introducing a teammate, a colleague to your wife, and really you're helping them out as a dating service, because she's looking at Derek Fisher and she's saying, oh, I like him. He's cool. He's mature, unlike my man. I find him attractive. Derek Fisher's looking at her. He's saying, oh, I find her attractive as well. All these things are going on in his mind. And Matt Barnes was so simple-minded, he didn't grasp that. That's why I tell many of you brothers, if you're one of those cats who likes to intermingle friends and your woman, don't marvel if something happens in your quote-unquote relationship and you find out that your female is banging your so-called friend. Don't marvel. People do things just because they can. There are no boundaries anymore. Everybody's living according to Thelima, do what thou wilt. So anyway, they're going to talk about it. I'm going to chime in.
All right, it's time to play Good Decision, Bad Decision, starring Derek Fisher. Okay.
Well, Derek Fisher is known for making bad decisions. So would it surprise me if this relationship does not work in the long term? No, it wouldn't. It also wouldn't surprise me if they last for a very long time. He seems to be someone that when I see him on television, he's good at putting forth the aura or the energy of a person who's mature. But based off of what I've read about him, especially in his tenure as the Knicks head coach, he can also be a low-down dirty bastard. Supposedly, he was trying to sleep with many of the members of the New York Knicks, the franchise that he was coaching. I believe that he tried to take the girlfriend of Tim Hardaway Jr., if I remember correctly. One of you brothers out there from New York who follow the Knicks, you can correct me if I'm wrong about that little factoid. But I remember that there was a situation between Derek Fisher, while he was the coach of the Knicks, and maybe more than one of his players' women. And you know, most of these guys, they're dealing with strippers or they're dealing with escorts anyway, so he probably felt like it wasn't a big deal. Many of these players are chick swapping, and of course that is a habit that he developed being a member of the Lakers. Anyone who knows anything about the history of the Lakers knows that they're dealing with a lot of MK sex kittens out there in LA, especially since Dr. Jerry Buss took over the franchise back in the mid-70s. So I'm sure that Derek Fisher is used to a lot of things. And oh, by the way, yes, Gloria Govan is an MK Ultra sex kitten. I touched on that in a video a long time ago. Oh, no, it wasn't that I touched on her. It was that I was speaking about Rihanna. And I broached the subject of many of these reality TV show chicks being MK sex kittens. And I believe I mentioned Gloria Govan. And then there was a brother in the comments that confirmed it because she had certain tattoos on her body. I believe that he stated that she had one that was backwards or written in some type of code. And you'll oftentimes see that with MK sex kittens. But anyway, just to get to the point, brothers, most of these people that you see on these so-called reality TV shows like Real Housewives and Hip Hop, Love and Hip Hop, whatever that show is called, those shows are used as introductions for MK assets to be implemented into the entertainment industry. That's why Cardi B, if I remember correctly, I believe that she got started on one of those TV shows.
Okay, what do you do? Derek Fisher has proposed to his girlfriend, Gloria Govan, and she said yes. Right? A beautiful moment. The question is it a good decision or is it a bad decision? Because
when you see this dynamic right here, this truly encapsulates a lot of what we see in modern day society. You'll have a female like a Gloria Govan who chases after the quote-unquote wild guy, the quote-unquote bad boy in Matt Barnes. It doesn't work out. She has a couple of children with him. She finally realizes that wild side, it was nice when she first met him, but after a while, that uncontrollable, untamed, frenetic energy that normally comes with that type of personage is not something that she wants to grow old with. She can't handle it because oftentimes those cats will turn on the woman and things will get cantankerous in the household. Why is that? Because the man is supposed to bring an aura, an energy of calmness in the household to balance out the woman and her oftentimes tempestuous spirit, man. You're supposed to balance that shit out. You're not supposed to be throwing dishes back at the woman. She's throwing dishes at you. First off, if a woman throws something at you, you probably should tell that bitch to have a nice life. Goodbye. Especially in this time period that we're living in. If a chick is overly dramatic, taking things to a physical level, trying to be physically abusive or verbally abusive, tell her to have a nice day. There's too many broads out here for all that, man. Especially since 999 times out of 1,000, you're not meeting any virgins. Most of these broads can't cook and don't clean. They can barely clean themselves properly. So the least that they could do is act correct. Act like you have some sense. If they can't even do that, give them their walking papers expeditiously. But once again, Gloria Govan is an excellent example of what we see in this society, where the liberal female is allowed to make a multitude of mistakes and then hope that they can find a Prince Charming. Now, she seems to have found hers. We'll see how long it lasts. But the point is this, not to wish any ill on their relationship if they're both happy and they're both constructive citizens and they're building each other up. Good for them. Point being is this, brothers, when you enter into these relationships with these females, do not be confused when things don't work out and she tries to start something with your homeboy or even with your brother or your cousin or whoever it is that you introduce her to that she finds attractive. Because these females, they do take note of who is attractive in your circle. If you're simple-minded enough to allow her to make those type of connections. So please keep that in mind. Don't be one of those brothers who flips out and all of a sudden you're on page 2 of the newspaper. It's not worth all that. Let the broad go. if something like that happens, she did you a favor because she revealed a snake in your retinue. Let them both go.
Because Matt Barnes might murder him.
Yeah, I'm gonna go bad decision.
Yeah, Matt Barnes already tried to kill him for just dating her, so if they're gonna get married...
That's true. Here's what happened.
Yes, Matt Barnes went and drove 90 miles because allegedly his sons called him and stated that Derek Fisher was in their house, and he put two and two together and realized that they were being intimate. He should have let that go. Let it go. The only thing that people that do those type of things to you are revealing is that they have very, very low character. It's okay. 999 times out of 1,000, things do not end well for them.
Happened. Okay, April 7th, Derek Fisher threw a little surprise engagement thing for Gloria. He got down on one knee. You can see right there. He proposed in front of their children and another relative, and it was a beautiful moment. He had candles and flower petals, and she said yes, and the ring is beautiful.
Oh, nice.
It looks great.
It looks great for
The question is, how is Matt Barnes going to react knowing the history? Everybody knows the history between that. They used to be teammates.
Yeah, and Matt Barnes was like, yo, this is a line you don't cross.
Broke the code.
And he had heard, allegedly, well, he definitely
Why are you using my word for Van Lathan?
definitely heard that Derek Fisher was hanging out with his kids at his old crib, and that's what he had to make.
They actually look good together. Matt Barnes, leave it alone, man. Leave it alone. You and the chick had a dysfunctional relationship. May have been mostly your fault, may have been mostly her fault, who knows. Whatever it was, it's in the past. I use this segment here as an end sample for a lot of you brothers who are intent on chasing around some so-called baby mama who you think you should still have a thing for, and who you think should still have a thing for you. When it's over, it's over. When you're running up to the bus stop and the bus is pulling off, it's not coming back to allow you to get in. You have to wait for the next bus. It's okay. That's life. A lot of times the next bus has a working AC and a nice seat for you. If you'd have caught that previous bus, you would have had to pack yourself into a crowded bus like a sardine around a bunch of funky people with nasty attitudes. A lot of brothers hold on to females that are truly not worth their time. And beyond that, if a woman is bringing negative energy into your life, you have to get rid of that. It's like a tumor. If you allow it to remain in your body, it's going to poison the rest of your body. A lot of cats are stopping themselves from moving upward because they're holding on to old relationships. That's why I always implore brothers to make sure that they take inventory of their own lives, and also make sure that the female in your life is in it for you. Like John F. Kennedy said, and I always quote this line, ask not what your country could do for you, ask what you could do for your country. When you're in a relationship with someone, you should be concerned about what you can do for that person, not what they can do for you. You're supposed to already have your shit together. You're not supposed to need someone to do something for you. And it's the same thing with them. They have to be looking out for you and trying to figure out how they could take you and them together to another level. Their job is to bring things into the relationship for you, not to always be asking you for things and what they can get out of you. If you're in a dynamic like that, it's not going to work out in the long term, and it's only going to get worse. It's not going to get better. Certain cats think if they impregnate the female, she's going to change and maybe she'll be more family oriented and things will quote unquote go back to how they were. No, it's not going to go back to how it was. It's only going to get worse. The female is like a child. If she's not someone who is configured to be with a man long term, there's nothing that you're going to do. Most of these females are not ready to truly be with a man until they're about 35 to 38 years old. That's when they start being ready to be with a man. Before that, they have all these doubts because that's the woman's nature. She's capricious and whimsical by nature. All right, that's why they have to be thoroughly moderated.
That 90-mile drive.
I don't remember if I said this or not, but Matt Barnes used to be married to Gloria Govan, and they had kids together.
They were married for a lot of years. There they are right there.
They have since divorced.
Yeah, and I bet you they went on break about 50 times while they were married. A lot of these people, they're just posing for photos. Meanwhile, in real life, their relationship is in shambles, man. Once again, that's why you can't live your life for photographs and the internet and social media. You have to truly be about that relationship and the person that you're with. And once again, the person that you're with, as well as yourself, you have to be ready to deal with monotony. You have to be comfortable with the fact that the days are going to blend one into another. I always tell cats that. If the chick that you with is always looking for a fucking adventure, she's already telling you what she's about. Let her go be the next man's headache. Let her go. I'm going to say it again. Let her go be the next man's headache. Ain't no broad word for all that. Coochie's nice, but it ain't that damn nice.
Derek Fisher was married to a woman. They have divorced, and so they're free and clear to get married now legally. Well, guess what, everyone? Matt Barnes has weighed in, and this is what he says on the situation. You ready? I have 2 beautiful boys from my ex. We are still focusing on co-parenting and providing the best atmosphere for them. They love Derek, so I love the situation. Despite not seeing eye to eye initially with Derek, he and I are on the same page and communicate weekly about Isaiah and Carter, the kids. With that being said, congrats on the engagement. So.
Yeah, he's just trying to take the high road so that he does not look, quote-unquote, bitter. But I guarantee you, anybody who's going to drive 90 miles to try to whoop a dude ass because his sons called him and told him that that Derek Fisher was in the crib, he's still mad about that. Ain't no way that you went from that to just accepting everything, but he knows he can't do shit about it. And if he would have accepted that from the start, and when I say from the start, not of Derek Fisher and Gloria Govan's relationship, but from the start of his relationship with Gloria Govan, he would have been much better off because he would have made much better decisions and he would not have been put in the predicament where he basically has to be publicly embarrassed like this. Because Derek Fisher pretty much is done in a lot of NBA circles. Nobody's ever going to trust him again. Derek Fisher's never going to get a head coaching job in the NBA ever again because of what he was doing while he was coach of the Knicks. He was more interested in seeing how many of the players' wives and girlfriends he could bang out than he was in actually coaching the team. He was still trying to live life like he was a player in more ways than one.
So, wow, high road for Matt Barnes right there.
Yeah, I don't trust it.
No, really? Not buying
Let me tell you something, man. Shout out to Matt Barnes, one of the realest dudes. We all know.
I don't know what you mean by realist. To me, to be a real person means to know yourself and to not allow yourself to get caught up in dumb shit if you can avoid it. Matt Barnes seems to be the opposite. Cat is pushing 40 and he still gets caught up in dumb shit all the time.
That Matt Barnes is one bad party away from putting some on your ass.
You might be right about that. Who knows? Matt Barnes might be home by himself drinking some Patron. You say, you know what? I'm going to go crash these motherfuckers' wedding.
And if you're Derek Fisher, you gotta be looking over your shoulder for the rest of the time to make sure that Matt's happy with everything. It's a little dicey, if you ask me.
What Van is trying to say is congratulations to the.
But anyway, brothers, you see this photo right here? Has a whole nother man posing with Matt Barnes' children. And this is nothing new. Once again, I remember an interview that Muhammad Ali had back in 1977. He went over to Britain to speak, and he was talking about the same thing. He stated explicitly that his second wife had a new man, and she had his children with her, calling that new man daddy. And that is what the liberated/liberal female will do, because she knows that by proxy, she can use the new man to emasculate the old man. These are all things that you have to think about. That's why I always tell brothers, man, you don't even think about making things serious with a female who does not show that she has honor and respect for the masculine principle. Because it's all about how a person thinks. People don't change how they think. They might change how they conduct themselves, especially if they're trying to subvert the opinions of those around them. But how they think never changes. And if a female does not respect you as a man, if she does not respect manhood, period, she's never going to respect manhood. And this person, Gloria Govan, as long as she maintains her looks, she's going to look at men as expendable. Period. And Matt Barnes did not figure that out. I'm not sure if I can remember whether or not he had a male figure growing up in his life. I know that his father was a so-called black man, but I think that his father may have gotten caught up in some craziness and may have been incarcerated. But if I'm wrong about that, one of you brothers can correct me. Point being is this. Brothers, things can change in the blink of an eye. So be prepared. So anyway, peace.